disciplinary committee actually reviewed the incident and decided to extend the ban, and they deemed it serious foul play. Obviously, it's his second red card in 4 games. It now means he's suspended in 2 different competitions, the Club World Cup and the Premier League as well, where that does come back.
I'm trying to remember his last sending off. It's been such a long time, I've no idea.
Newcastle towards the end of the season. That nearly cost them.
That's right. That seems like a long time away, this Club World Cup.
Well, you were away for a long time, so we'll let you off.
Well, you know, the fact that FIFA have given him 2 games, you could easily, you know, back in... I would have thought an automatic, a challenge like that, Frankie's here, has he sorted his internet?
He sorted his internet.
Is that what it was?
That's a good image,
something like that. I would have thought a challenge like that would have been enough. It's violent, it's over the top, it's reckless, it ticks. I would have thought that would have been an immediate... Whether it matters or not, I think that would have been an automatic 3-game ban for making a challenge that basically had no intent. I mean, the ball, you can't argue that he couldn't go in front of FIFA to the court and say, Your Honour, I was going for the ball there. There's no chance. There is no chance whatsoever. He was not anywhere near the ball. He just tried to play the player, and it was extremely dangerous. So I think it should be automatic 3 when it's something like that.
Do you think he's got lucky here with the 2?
Well,
Definitely.
No, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, yeah. I mean, for me, a challenge like that, and in any platform, whether it be the Club World Cup, the League, any challenge like that should be an automatic, minimum 3-game ban.
Is Craig right, Frank?
Oh yes, he's 100% right. It's a violent conduct. He doesn't try to play the ball. He could have broken the opponent's leg. At least he wanted to hurt him. I don't think he wanted to break his leg, but I think he wanted to hurt him, and that's absolutely forbidden. And when it's what he wanted to do, it's compulsory. Yeah, he deserves at least 3 games. It could have been very, very bad for the opponent. So you have to punish the players in order to show to the others that they shouldn't do that.
So let's talk about Chelsea next season then. Are they going to stick with Nico Jackson and Liam Delap, and is that enough for them?
I mean, well, it's more than they had this year, right? Because they had Nico Jackson and the idea of Mark Guiu and the idea of Christopher Nkunku, who's not a centre forward up front. I think this is really disappointing for Maresca. Jackson, I think he improved last season. There was that whole spell when he kept getting those bookings for dissent. Remember, he seemed to get one every single game. He managed to get that out of his game, then we saw the red cards. But I think the plan this season was to alternate him and Delap. They've got the Champions League this year as well. Maybe he could have gotten some minutes out wide on the wing, where they are, you know, they're certainly short-handed on the wing. It's really just Madueke and Neto in terms of real wingers, given the Mudryk situation, given that nobody likes Joao Felix or wants him around. But to do that, they need the real Nico Jackson, the guy who, just as he improved on the pitch in the way he plays, he needs to control this stuff. And, you know, twice in 2 months is too many.
Do these numbers suggest that he's improved?
Well, what I can tell you is, to sort of align with what Gab was saying, there is absolutely no doubt that at the start of the season, the first half of the season, his performances by his standards before were excellent. His link-up play, his goal scoring improved, his movement improved where he came short. Early in the season, he was coming short a lot, and Chelsea were going behind very quickly with runners. And it was brilliant to watch, and it was entertaining. And then, for whatever reason, in the second half of the season, it sort of fell away badly for Maresca. I don't have the answers why, but a bunch of players lost form, and we started to see less of Cole Palmer. He struggled up front, Jackson as well, and they sort of unravelled a little bit. Now they managed to clamber over the line in the end and get Champions League football. But the entertainment side of it, the sort of playing teams off the park, where they allowed... I watched them many, many times away from home in the first half of the season, where they actually allowed teams some possession. Other teams coughed it up, or Chelsea won it, and they were in the other penalty area within 4 or 5 seconds. Bang, 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 in behind. And it was like, wow, when we sat here and we said, they're in this title race. They certainly were in terms of the points at the time. Now, I don't think anybody felt they would have enough strength or quality to go all the way.
Including Maresca.
Well, and that's understandable. They were certainly in the mix in terms of the way they were playing and the points they had. But the fall-off for them was quite worrying. it was quite worrying in the end. Now, I don't think he can afford another kind of fall off like that, if I'm being honest. And I think as we sit here now, if you said to me, what kind of season are they going to have? I'm not sure. Are you? I mean, would you be confident to say with the football that they've got coming up and the players that they've got at the moment, are they comfortably going to be in the top 4?
No,
I'm not sure.
Nothing's going to be comfortable. Nobody's comfortable top. I mean, very few teams are comfortable top 4 in England to begin with. They have banked on this idea in spending all this money on these very young players, very promising players everybody wanted, that there's going to be a linear improvement year after year, right? Moises Caicedo, fantastic. He's still very young. He should still improve year after year. Cole Palmer should still improve. Malo Gusto should still improve. Levi Colwill should still improve. The problem is you can't always bank on a young player improving. I mean, you've been around this. Not every young phenomenon improves like this and just gets 10% better every year. It just doesn't work that way. It's sometimes they improve by a lot, sometimes they regress, sometimes they just never get there. And when you have so many players who are in that position and you're somewhat hamstrung financially in terms of the spending, because Chelsea are not out of the woods in financial stability rules, they have to move, they're going to have to move a lot of players around. You know, then it becomes, I think, really, really tough. And for better or worse, Nico Jackson is supposed to be a leader on this team, right? Next year would be his 3rd season as a starter. There's not many people who have that under their belt, and you expect the leader to behave like a leader.
When I was at Chelsea and Celtic, we had very experienced players, Frank and a bunch of them, obviously, at Chelsea and Celtic, you know, Champions League winners, and Paul Lambert, and Henrik Larsson, and Alan Stubbs, and the list goes on. It was almost all the guys at Celtic were Danish and Norwegian and Italian and Scottish and English internationals. And a few youngsters. When I went to Derby, there was a lot of youngsters, and a lot of good youngsters like Rory Delap and Seth Johnson and all these other boys. They were good kids, they were good players. Some of them went on to play for England a few times. But I sort of bemoaned the fact that you know, as exciting as it is having kids and younger players, more mistakes happen because they try things and when they're in their sort of fledgling career. That at times in a game you're sort of trying to calm everybody down and from a more experienced sort of leadership position and say, you know, it's 10 minutes to go, we should be doing this. And the more youngsters you've got, the more sort of inclined they are just to forget these things and just go for it and leave themselves open. And I think looking at Chelsea, they have some very, very good players, but they are younger and they don't really have, you know, anybody in the centre-half position or the centre midfield position when things are tight or when things need to just be pulled back a little bit with 10 minutes to go or 5 minutes to say, hey, let's be doing it. Caicedo is a brilliant player. You know, Lavia, who's not played a lot, is a very good player. Fernandes, the list goes on. But they don't really, to me, they're all doing their own jobs, but they don't have anybody in that position, central midfield, that's sort of just directing the traffic, not doing too much on the ball, but being the eyes and ears of everybody around them. That's something that they don't quite have.
So let's put this to the test then, because Frank is usually a little bit more positive about Chelsea.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. Are you suggesting that there's some negativity?
Maybe.
That's not negative.
No, not negativity.
No. But you see, you have Chelsea viewers watching this,
who's
right?
Who's likely to be more generous towards Chelsea?
Well, that's not. Before Frank pipes in here, that's not the point, is it? We're not here, and we are not here, and we are not paid to be generous to anybody. We are here to analyse the situation, and I think when you analyse the situation, there is still this sort of naivety towards this team in terms of they'll play some good football. But do they have the core mentality and organisation skills within the back line and the midfield to get through the real nitty-gritty, tough parts of the season? And that is going to... Yeah, they've got flair. We know that. But I think the analysis is not negative, which you keep bringing up.
You brought up the word negative.
Is I think, factual.
Which is why
realisation.
I want to put it to the test by seeing...
Well, yeah, that's not the test.
Frank agrees with you guys. Frank, next season for Chelsea, how does it look to you?
Well, I'm sorry, Kay, but I will have to agree with the guys, and especially Mr. Craig Burley, because
this was the
test. That's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, having an experienced player brings inconsistency because that's what it is. It's life. Maybe we don't know what we want when we are aging, but we know what we don't want. Therefore, we make less mistakes and we are a little bit more cautious. They don't know how to do that yet. Yeah, they have the talent, and I wish Craig, with all the players that they named, those players are absolutely talented, but they need to get the experience in order to get the consistency of it. And that's what is lacking right now, and it's why maybe we have to go to another player like Nicolas Jackson, not reaching what we are expecting. But with the others, yeah, you can do something good, but you won't get that thing, and you're not going to be sure of what you're going to get it when you're going to get it. That's the problem. And it's why I always said, bring like 2 experienced players to make sure they can get along with and get the experience from them. But I don't think it's going to be the type of transfer fee they're going to get, because they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that with all the players.
Thank God Arsenal are not in this competition.
Well, I don't want to have the Kai Havertz conversation.
No, let's
No, we won't.
avoid the Kai Havertz piece.